Hey everyone, Stuart with Franklin Hill Ventures. Today I am going to show you how I use List Perfectly, specifically List Perfectly templates, to get similar types of books pushed out to the different marketplaces that I sell on. So I will create a template from a book that I already have listed and then use that to list the other 4 books that I have to list. Before I get started, if you do find this video helpful, if you could hit the like button and also consider subscribing to my channel, I would appreciate it. You can find links to all my social media sites as well as the marketplaces that I sell on by going to www.franklinhillventures.com. And let's go ahead and get started. All right, the first step is to take pictures, which I've already done, and they're on my iPhone here. I did get a new iPhone 13, which I like a lot, but it seems to be kind of sporadic on whether the pictures will copy to my computer through the lightning cable. So I did tweak my listing process some. Now when I take the pictures, I just start a listing in List Perfectly directly on my phone, upload the pictures, then switch over to my computer. I know a lot of people already do that because I've seen it mentioned in the groups. I had never done it that way, but I think I actually like it better and it seems more efficient. I'll go ahead and take a bunch of pictures of things, upload, each set of pictures to a new listing in List Perfectly, then just come over to my desktop and finish up. So I'll go ahead and show you how I get those in there. So if we open List Perfectly on my mobile device, and then we just go to add listing. And then next we will add images using the plus here, and we'll select photo library. And then I always change from photos to albums and pick recents. That just puts them in the right order so I don't have to rearrange them once they're into List Perfectly. So let's select all 9 of these pictures, click add, and then you'll see them start to pop in there. And then once they're finished, we will just save and exit the catalog. And then I would repeat that process if I was taking pictures of multiple items. For the purpose of this, I just took it of one of the books so I could go ahead and get that in the List Perfectly. So anyway, now we'll continue on the desktop. All right, I'm back on my desktop now, and as you can see here, here's the listing that we just uploaded with the pictures only. And before I get started editing that, this book is in the same series as this book. So I'm going to create a template out of this. So I have to, change very few things when I list each of the next books I'm getting ready to list. So we'll go ahead and click here on Add Template. And then really, I'm just going to accept everything that came across, click Save and Exit. So now we have a template based on that listing right here. So now when I go back to my listings in the List Perfectly catalog, and I will mention I'm using the Pro version of List Perfectly. So, I believe templates are available in all the versions, but if you have the business or the simple plan, you may not see all the fields that I'm going to show. So anyway, this is based on the Pro plan. So now we'll go ahead and go in and edit listing. And the first thing I'm going to do is this picture actually got out of order. So we'll move it to the first. Then I'm going to edit this, and we're going to lighten it up just a little bit. And then we're also going to remove the background. So if you have the Pro plan, you can use the photo room integration to remove your backgrounds, and you get 500 of those a month. So there's the background removed. We'll go ahead and save that. The only other 2 I'm going to do anything to are these green ones. They're a little dark, so I'm going to lighten them up so that they match the color a little better. And we will also remove the background on those. It only takes a couple of seconds, and then we'll save that. And then finally, we'll do this last one. And then all the other pictures will be fine just to leave as is. So we'll lighten it up a little bit, remove the background, and then go ahead and click Save. This one, there we go. So now we have all the picture editing done that I'm going to do. And then we need to go ahead and select that template, which is right here, the U.S. Army and World War II, the War Department. And that will bring everything in from that other listing. So the only things that we need to change are the title. So everything up to this point is the same. And then we will just change this to be Washington Command Post. I do have to keep an eye on the number of characters, see how much I can do. So I can't quite get everything that I had in the previous listing with the date. So I think I will just actually just go with Washington Command Post and then put in the date of the book, which is 1985. So now we'll go down everything else. Let's see, our brand should be the same. And actually, this was a little bit newer book, so the publisher did change a little bit. I think it's the same place. They just changed the name. We're going to go ahead and choose that. And I've done other books with that, so it popped up in my saved data. And I'm using Microsoft Edge, by the way. I know Google Chrome lost its history for a lot of people. So far, so good with Chrome. I mean, with Edge, I have not lost anything. So everything else will stay the same. This is kind of my standard description thing on books that are in decent shape. You know, if there were defects I needed to disclose, I would change that, but everything here is good. And then we will just change this title. And this is Washington Command Post Operations Division, and I'll put the full title in there. And this one, we're just going to change the publisher name since it's the Center of Military. And note that I usually blow through these really quick. You know, as I'm stopping to explain things, this is obviously going to take longer than it normally does, but you know, this perfectly makes your listing flow very efficient. And you know, normally I can get through one of these, especially when I'm using a template, from the time I start typing to the time it's listed on whatever platforms I'm going to post it to, somewhere in 5 to 10 minute range. So I just don't want you to think that it's normally this slow to get everything in. So I believe that's everything there. And then we'll go to our pro description. And I've used this heavily on books to put in, you know, the details. So we'll put the book title in again. So let's just copy this and then paste that down here. And then the author of this one is Ray S. Klein. So we'll put the author's name there. And then, as mentioned, the publisher name changed slightly, but I believe I have that Center of Military History. So that is saved. The year published on this book was 1985. And the edition is the 1985 reprint. And it was first printed in 1951. It's a hardback, no dust jacket. It has numbered pages. Let me flip in here real quick and look. That would be 413. That out, 413. This book is 10 inches by 7 inches. It's the same size as the last one I listed, and it was printed in the USA. So that's everything for there. And then we go to keywords, pricing. One thing I usually do out of order here, I'll go ahead and put in the weight. So let's put it on the scale right over here, which you can't see. It weighs 2 pounds, 3 ounces. So we'll add a pound, and that becomes 3 pounds, 3 ounces. We'll leave the box size the same. All right, I'm back. Have to test my editing skills. That was the postman at the door dropping off some packages. So anyway, I think I left off where I was talking about the pro description, which I finished. So, and then we changed the weight. So now we're into the keywords, section here. And I will typically go ahead and click the suggest keywords button, and then any of this that I need to change, but this is going to stay the same for all these books. So cost of goods sold is $1, and then the price is 18. And then the SKU where I have this stored is a bin called office. So we will look and see if any of these keywords need to be changed. Really, they should be all very similar, except for this industrial manpower one. We will change that to Washington Command Post. And then we should be ready to go ahead and save this. So we'll click update. And then this will go back out to the List Perfectly catalog. And now, as you can see, we have this in the catalog. It's not on any platforms yet, but it's ready to list. Now, the way I list items, and I know everybody does this a little differently, I click on the title here, and then that will open up this window, and I go ahead and close the window it came from. And the only thing I do here is I take out this line where it put in the condition. Since I described that in more detail here, I really don't need that. And as I've talked about in a previous video, any changes you make in this box, they're only on this screen. It's not going to affect your listing at all. But if there was something you wanted to tweak before you pushed it out to a marketplace, you could actually edit this box, and then those changes will get put out, but not saved to your listing in your List Perfectly catalog. So for these books, I list them to 4 marketplaces. I list it to Mercari. I list it to eBay. I list it to Facebook Marketplace, which is actually where I've sold most of these types of books, is on Facebook Marketplace. And then I also list them to Depop. Just due to the volume of these, I'm not putting them on Instagram. I occasionally will put one on Instagram that's representative of maybe a group of things I'm listing. But for in this particular case, we're just going to go with the 4 marketplaces. So the first one, Mercari. So Mercari, if you don't use Mercari, everything comes across pretty well in Mercari, and there's not a lot of changes you typically have to make. We will see if it has a suggested category that fits, and I do put all these books in history, other books. If it was not in this suggested category, then I would have to drill down, but it's right there. So we'll pick that. And then this is a no brand, not sure. The publisher is not in the list. Most everything in Mercari I leave is good. I'm not going to do a color since it's a book. And all these books I'm going to ship on my own because I'm going to use Media Mail to ship it. And so we'll use the ship on your own. Go ahead and leave the price at 18 that it brought over from List Perfectly. I never use smart pricing, so we'll turn that off. And then we can go ahead and list that. And now this one should pop up, and it's now listed in Mercari. So we'll go ahead and close that window. And now eBay, eBay, it's AI for these books. It always either picks books and magazines, the antiquarian and collectible, or books and magazines books. It's like half and half. I tend to stick with the top one here just because for promoted listings, the fees are, or the suggested rate's a little cheaper. So we'll go ahead and leave it that. And then I'll change my store category. When you use List Perfectly, it always defaults your store category to other. So we'll go with books nonfiction. The ISBN came over from List Perfectly. Okay, we've run into one, I don't know if it's a bug, but it's one thing that happens occasionally in List Perfectly, not very often. So it's probably good it happened here so that you can see it. It doesn't load the photos. This only happens maybe 1 out of every 20 or 30 listings. Of course, it happened to occur when I was making a video, but all you have to do is close eBay and then just relaunch it, and that should fix it. And in the meantime, we'll go back and go ahead and do the Facebook one. So we'll pick books, and then I typically use, kind of like Mercari, I do used good in Facebook for most things. It brought over the description, and then the book genre. we will pick nonfiction history. And that's all I change on this screen. Click next. And just like on Mercari, we're going to ship this using our label. So we'll use our own shipping label and shipping rate of 0 and do free shipping since it's going media mail. I do calculated shipping on everything except for things I can ship first class or media mail. So we'll do free shipping there. Click next. I do turn on the best offer in Facebook, and I'll typically take what they suggest. Sometimes I'll tweak that, but I'm good with the 14. We'll click next. I don't ever list it to any other groups, so we'll click publish. And while that's publishing, and I always leave Facebook open since that's the one platform that the ID does not always come back into List Perfectly. So I just leave that window open until I'm finished so I can come back and get the item number if I need it. So then we'll go ahead and come to Depop. Depop's real quick to list. It's just books and magazines, just like the others. I picked use good, no color. We'll go with a vintage source and a pre-loved source, and the age is 80s. And then we will, everything else stays the same, and just click post. So there's your Depop listing. We'll close that. And then finally, yep, see, they loaded this time in eBay. So if you ever see it where it doesn't load the pictures, just close it, then go back and restart the listing, and that should work. So I usually try to look at that first so I don't do any work, but I just forgot. So we'll do books nonfiction again. The condition description came over. I don't use the display a large photo. I never pay for any of the extras other than promoting listings. So we'll go ahead and leave the topic. I'm good with the one that came there. The author is Ray S. Klein. So we'll just copy that, paste it here. It's hardcover. The publisher, we will also copy that. Center for Military History. Hopefully one day List Perfectly will add some of these item specifics for like books maybe to the List Perfectly catalog, so there's a one-to-one match. But for now, I don't have to change too many things. So language, English, I don't typically do any of the additional ones. And then we'll come down $18 is the price. This is going to be, and eBay always remembers the last shipping you did when you did a listing. So it's media mail. I always do local pickup on everything. And I have actually sold quite a few things that way. And then me personally, I always promote at their suggested rate plus a little bit. I usually add 0.5%. I know there's tons of different opinions on promoted listings. Some people promote at 1%. Some people promote, at the recommended. Some people don't promote at all. I found this works well for me. So you just have to play around with it and find what works well for you. And then we'll go ahead and list that item. Normally I would, come back over and do another one while I'm waiting on the eBay to finish up. But since that's the last one, then we can just close this. Then we'll come here and make sure we'll go back to listings, my listings, and just make sure that the 4 marketplaces populated into the catalog. And as you can see here, Facebook did not. So the last 10 listings I've done, it did. So it's funny when I'm recording the video, 2 issues that I haven't had in a while both popped up, but no big deal. We'll just come over here and I will bring up my listings, go here and say view listing, copy that to the clipboard and come back over here. And I know I could go to like the inline editor and some other things, but I find it just as quick since I'm already on this screen. And it actually did populate in, but it did not reflect that into the catalog. I probably could have just refreshed the page there and it would have shown up. But in any case, once I update this, we should see Facebook pop in there now. And there we go. So that's how I created a template. Now I still have 3 more books to list. So I will use that same template to list all 3 of those and it'll go really quick. Anyway, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.